We are going to come on and just for a few minutes share what's on my heart for the day, and I'm gonna give it a minute just to share it to a group, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so as we're jumping on here, I just want to say this week, watch for the very first podcast of Unlocked Life. It's coming out Tuesday. Shout out to Jeremy Weaver and Brandon Weaver for all of their work, and it will feature an interview with my friend Amber Meyers that came from Pennsylvania, that many of you guys met. So watch for that. That's great news for the week. And I want to say really a great couple of things that the lady said, like right before we were jumping on, is one, I didn't know the strength I had that God had put in me as women gathered around, but also to see the strength that God put in her as she faced a really difficult situation. And then Ona was sharing just how, like, when you experience people, whether it's at the doctor's or in the, out in the marketplace and stores and things like that. And sometimes, like, you just to have patience for those people, and to be able to see people and love people through the love of Jesus in you. And so today, that just kind of nicely paved the way for the message is Christ in you, is that grace forms his life in you. And there's grace growers in our life. There's things that we face, there's things that we walk through together, and there's things that we walk through, that are really forming Christ in us and through us. And we can see the revelation of Christ, and when we see him, we will be like him. So when we have areas of our life where we say, like, I don't know if I have strength for this, I don't know if I have faith for this, it's not digging in yourself to see it, it's looking at Christ to see it and saying, when I see him in this situation, when I see him for who he is, then I will be like him, because the seeing of him releases the knowledge that says, and he's in me. And so even yesterday, in a really simple, well, not simple, like situation where I just felt fatigued all day. I hadn't slept in a couple days, all these things. This is just a really quick and simple thing. It's so minimal compared to the things we've talked about today. But it was just so fatigued, and my mind was so fatigued, and everything. And I was, driving a distance and things like that. And I had things, and I was just kind of like, Lord, I so want to honor this situation and these people and time I have set aside for Gerald, where I'm just like, I'm tired, and there was and so I just said, but God, I feel your rest in my spirit, right? I feel your rest in my spirit. So in that moment, when I say, when I see him, I will be like him, by faith, I stepped into the place where I said, what my mind is feeling mentally, just the fatigue and just processing thought, and then my body is exhausted. But my spirit, I can feel your peace. And I know that's where your strength is, Lord. And Lord, I'm just going to step back, take some breath, and know that because this is a situation where I know you're going to show up, and I'm going to trust your strength, and I'm going to trust your grace in this situation each step of the way. You're going to pave the way. You're going to allow me to draw from your strength and your grace and that place of rest in the midst of weariness to draw from. And he did. And it was really, I was just so blessed by how he came through in the space of just physical and mental fatigue. And I say that because here in this classroom, we have said, hey, there's times when I feel like my faith has hit the end, when I see the reality of this diagnosis, when I see the reality of what my children are facing, when I see that reality and I say, but in this moment, I want to choose heaven's reality over this. Mm-hmm. And I say, Lord, you're the one who has faith. And when I see you, I will be like you. And when our sisters and brothers gather around us, we feel the strength of Jesus pouring into us because of what's in each of you pours in and gathers around and embraces the one who needs it. And so in this moment, we can say, Colossians 2:19, he is the divine head who causes it to grow by the supernatural power of God. And that is to say, and I'm reading it, that's 2:19. That Jesus is the divine head who causes the body to grow by the supernatural power of God. And in 3:1, we're going to coast right through here. We're going to jump right through it. 3:1, Christ's resurrection is your resurrection too. We hit that last week and we said, what does it mean? It means everything he overcame, I also overcame. Am I seeing it in the reality? If I'm not, then I'm still saying, when I see him, I will be like him. He overcame, therefore I have overcome. Therefore, my family has overcome. Therefore, like what I'm believing for, knowing he's already established it, he's already overcome. And then in 3:3, your crucifixion has severed the tie to this life. That means I have crucified unbelief. He has crucified it. So when I say Jesus is my crucifixion, every moment, every temptation of unbelief and doubt is nothing but a lie looking for a place to land. And I'm telling you, you're not giving it a place to land. By faith, when you see him for who he is, you will be like him. And you're saying, I recognize that lie, and I'm taking every thought captive. And that is not who I am. It's not who he is, so it's not who I am. So therefore, it doesn't pass through. And so in that space where we see him, the veil is lifted, then we become like him and we can see. And in that space of renewed mind is where our new creation status continues to grow. In Colossians 3:4, as Christ himself is seen for who he really is, who you really are will also be revealed. For you are now one with him in glory. Glory is the fullness of the manifestation of God. So you're one with him in the manifestation of who he really is in you. Right? Is that like clicking in? Yep. 1 John 3:2, beloved, we are now children of God. Okay? So who my Father is defines who I am. Right. So when we say, oh, I'm a child of God, you're a child of God. What we're saying is, I am born of the one who is not of this world. Therefore, I inherited all that he already bought for me. But we know that when he is revealed, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And so before Jesus came, died, and he came in as the incarnate God to show us who God is, to destroy all the delusion of who we thought God was like before Jesus came. And then when he died, resurrected, and overcame, he died to everything that veiled our ability to see him. The sin nature, everything that veiled and clouded. And so it says in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 3:16, very familiar. When our hearts turn to the Lord, the veil is taken away. It's spoken of when the law was, all we could say is don't do this, don't do this. Circumcise your flesh, that's what's going to mark you. But now, love is what marked the believer. Love is what marks your maturity. And so when your heart turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. Because the veil of whatever it is that's stopping you from being able to see him and who he is in that very situation, whether it's the people you're facing, the people, or the situation that is more broad, whatever it is you need to see, when your heart turns to him, He shows you who he is so that you then become like him, because then his nature is released in you. What you behold, you become. As you're fascinated with how much he loves you, how much faith and power he has that he's already put in you, then you become like him. And you say, I am a woman of great power because he is a God who's got all power. Right? And so you're not fascinated with the woman in the mirror, but you are fascinated with the God who's fascinated with the woman in the mirror.
Amen. Amen.
And so it also says in new creation life. So in 3:18, but we with unveiled face, when the veil was torn from top to bottom, God did it in the veil. God did it in the temple. When Jesus was crucified, his flesh finally crucified the Adamic nature and everything that came with it. The veil that stopped us from being in the place of the Holy of Holies, living in a constant place of encounter and indwelling, was torn. He had taken it away. We didn't do it. He did it. And when he tore it, that's also saying he unveiled. He tore away everything that stopped us from being able to see. We with unveiled faces, beholding as in a mirror, we see him. It's a mirror. The glory of the Lord are being transformed into the same glory, just as by the Spirit of the Lord. In that same, between 16 and 17 is, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. There's freedom. And our new creation life, and I'm going to end this, is 1 Colossians 3:5. We live as one who has died. We live as one who has died. Romans 5 says, reckon ourselves dead. That means whatever it is, whatever that part of the sin nature is, whether it's a temptation to hate yourself, the temptation to hate something about you, the temptation to hate or have, impatience or anger towards other people and their weaknesses, because it talks about having, patience and grace for people and their weaknesses. Like whatever it is that you see, he says, live as one who's died. Live as the one who's died because Christ died and his death is your death. And so whatever it is that you're like, but I struggle, know that his death is your death. Live as one who has died. And 3:10, you have acquired new creation life, continually renewed into the likeness of one who created you. All right, that is it. That's our very fast message today. Love you.